Hey, welcome to the Reddit time. I hope you're having a good day and let's hop into this thread. Women who dated older men as teenagers that now realize they were predators. What's your story? My mother found older boys to introduce me to when I was 15-16. She would take me to coffee shops or sneak me into bars and charm her way with men in their 20s only to introduce them to me. I would date them and she would get chores done around the house that she needed. Painted kitchen, fixed cabinets, roof work, stuff like that. I remember my best friend's mom trying to warn me and explain to me why it was wrong of my mother to let her 15-year-old date 25-year-olds. But I just thought I was really cool. It wasn't until one of them found me online and reached out a few years ago that I realized what she's actually been doing all that time. And of course, none of these guys knew what the fuck they were doing, so the house looked like shit anyways. Your situation was so fucked up, but I need to comment cause the last line made me laugh so much. It's my bitterness seeping through. Trauma victims make the best comedians. He was my guidance counselor. I didn't realize how creepy he was until he proposed. The whole scene was fucked. What guidance could this man possibly have given to anyone? Fucking weirdo. You must not be familiar with guidance counselors. Even the non-pedo ones couldn't guide anyone out of a paper bag. I had sex with a 28-year-old when I was 13 and thought it was perfectly normal. He always complimented me, bought me stuff and drove me places when I needed a ride. Looking back now, I can't believe I didn't realize how fucked up that was. To this day, he can't find someone to date that's his age. I'm 24 now, from what I heard from rumors. You didn't realize it was fucked up because you were a child and your brain wasn't developed enough, which is exactly why children can't consent to sex. I was 11 and he was 23. We didn't date, he had a girlfriend, but he would text me and send me nudes. Eventually I realized it was strange and blocked him. Didn't tell anyone about it. I sometimes wonder if it's impacted me more than I would care to admit. I had boobs at 11 and got hit on by a disgustingly high number of grown men. I learned from a class in high school. Most predators don't pull in an ice cream truck. They tend to be 20-plus men, women too, who bait young people by calling them mature and independent. I was 15 with a 21-year-old. He hung around y'all's group and made all us younger girls feel special with his attention. I was shy and quiet, didn't stand out much, but obviously wanted the special attention that all the prettier paper girls got. He wasn't interested until he found out my mom worked nights and I was home alone. We ended up getting into a pretty heated argument and split. When 2 weeks in, I still hadn't let him come over because I was terrified of what my mom would do if she knew I'd had anyone over while she was gone. Male attention is a fucking superpower for girls that age. It's terrible. I was 15 and met a 30-year-old who was an older brother of a boy I met in group therapy. He used to tell me how complicated and mature I was. Lol, so cliché. I'm now 24 and seeing or interacting with anyone who is 15 makes me sick. I felt so old then, but it's insane now how obvious to me that people that age are children. I feel the same way. I'm in shock whenever I see a 16-year-old because they're just so young. I'm 32 now, same age as the man that took advantage of me. I was 13 with a 22-year-old boyfriend. He made me feel special, grown up, my friends were all jealous. To be honest, he was hot. A predator but a solid 10 out of 10. We met on Xbox Live, those were the days, and started a relationship. I was in my ugly duckling phase, so was drawn into by the attention. No boys my own age seemed interested in me. I was bullied a bit and it was nice for a good-looking older boy to think I was pretty. He slowly pressured me into sex, started with pushing me into sexual acts on webcam, to oral then full sex. He always insisted on filming everything because he loved me so much he wanted to only use our videos as porn. What I wasn't aware of was the fact that he was showing all his friends and they made bets on how quickly he could get me to do something else. Whenever I pushed back, he always said if I wanted to date a man, I needed to act like a woman, otherwise he would find a girl more willing to have a proper relationship with him. He then tried to pressure me into sleeping with his friends, started with a threesome, him included, then one night he asked me to just sleep with his friend. I saw his friend give him money, which is when I realized this whole scene was a lie and left. Wow, I'm sorry that happened to you. I hope you're doing well now. I met a dude on Adult Swim's forum back when I was around 12. He was 24 and was nice to me. Things always seemed hinky to me even from the beginning. But I had no friends in real life and was definitely in an ugly duckling place, so I figured that if this is who is going to pay attention to me, so be it. He would tell me the things he wanted to do to me and eventually sent me a hideously low-res picture of his dick, and all I remember is trying to laugh it off and said I thought he sent me a picture of a sock. Eventually he started asking that if we met in person if he could tie me up and take nudes of me. He started talking about buying a plane ticket to visit me and for my address, and I guess I finally had a bad enough gut feeling and didn't go through with it. My family eventually found out about us talking and it was a huge deal. I was rightfully banned from the internet for a while, not that it mattered much, because I wound up meeting another awful dude older than me, but this one was locally grown, lol. Jesus Christ, this same exact thing happened to me. The way my parents found out was because he ordered me a fucking Hollister hoodie and mailed it to my house. I gave him my address. He was 33 and I was 12. I was 16, a school teacher of 30 years used to touch me and text me stuff. I didn't really realize it was bad until some years later when he married a girl from my class. I didn't tell anyone because I was scared that people would think that it was my fault. That exact experience, except he had sex with me 2 days after I reached the age of consent in my state. I eventually got him fired, mom reported him when I was suicidal, and everyone in the school turned against me because he was the most popular teacher. It was terrible. I'm sorry that you had to go through that, and I hope it doesn't affect your life too much now. My first boyfriend. I was barely 15, he was 21. Worked in a local shop and all the girls at my school liked him, so came as a bit of a surprise when the biggest dork ever, me, somehow landed him and not any of the popular girls. We dated for maybe 4 months. Turned out he was sleeping with 3 girls in my year, which I found confusing because I'd begged him to take my virginity to no avail. Always found that really weird and insulting that he never even wanted to sleep with me. Plot twist. My mom had stormed into the shop when we first started dating and told him, "If you take my daughter's virginity, I will kill you with my bare hands." God bless my mom. Your mom knew you were dating someone that much older and was okay with it as long as he didn't have sex with you? That seems odd. My guess is that usually when moms forbid their own kids from seeing someone, it tends to have the opposite effect, so her mom did what she thought would work. I was 14 and dated a 25-year-old cop. He never asked my age and I never told. One day we're chatting on the phone and I told him that I got some homework to do and I'll call back later. He said, "Freshman year of college getting to you, huh?" I said, "College? I'm in high school." Dead silence. Then he asked how old I was and I said 14. He freaked out and was saying, "I'm gonna go to jail for this and I'm gonna lose my job." He said, "I can't see you again and please don't tell anyone." I said, "Yeah, of course." I got why he was scared and I never saw him again and never told. Oh, this question was made for me, lol. I had this internet boyfriend when dating or talking to people online was still taboo, for going on 2 years I believe. He lived in British Columbia and was I believe 31 at the time, while I was in California and I think 13 when I first started talking to him. I was going through a bunch of crappy things during that time at home, dealing with constant fighting or domestic violence amongst my parents who tried getting back together, dealing with self-esteem issues and self-harm, contemplating suicide or running away. He was of course there for me to talk and listen and always offered a place at his home if I ever decided to run away. Even offered to buy any plane tickets for me if I just said the word whenever I was ready. He would always talk about the life we could have if I did run away and such. I thankfully never did run away, but the summer I was entering into high school, the stars all seemed to align for me to finally meet him. I had always gone to summer camp with the YMCA in elementary and middle school, but high school-aged kids had a 2-week caravan instead. That year, it just so happened that the caravan was planning on driving from Los Angeles to Vancouver, BC and all the way back. I immediately told my mom I wanted to go and we got my spot reserved. He was definitely excited about finally meeting and the plan was to hopefully have me sneak out of the campsite and spend time back at his place before bringing me back. We also discussed sex and I agreed to lose my virginity to him when we met. I was worried about him getting in trouble, but it just so happened that the age of consent at the time in Canada was 14, so so he assured me he would be fine. The night came and I snuck out of my tent to meet him, and I forgot the reason why, but he didn't have his car for some reason, so the choice was to take a taxi back to his place or stay at the campsite. I was worried about getting caught offside, so I figured we could just hang out somewhere away from everyone. We found a picnic bench and I thought we could sit and talk for a bit, but he was just trying to get right to work. He was suggesting to have me lose my virginity on top of this picnic bench out in the open, and there was some random person stand maybe 20 or so feet away. All they had to do was open their tent and they would be facing us and see everything. He was adamant about us doing it there because there was no other option, and my dumb self gave it to the pressure. So I lost my virginity at 14 in another country outside on a picnic bench to this loser of a 32-year-old. It was pretty terrible since it hurt, wasn't the most pleasant environment, and he lasted maybe a minute. I had instant regret, but at least no one came out of the tent or walked by while it happened. Thank you for watching this video. I appreciate you sharing your valuable time with me today. I think all these stories are really terrible. Young girls just need some attention, and when they get it from older people, they think that this is pure love and are ready to do anything they would ask them to do. You can write your thoughts on this problem in the comment section down below. Also subscribe to my channel, give me a big thumbs up, and see you in the next video.